Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth, also known as the Continuum Chronicles. As always, I'm your host, Chris Kent, the Game Master, or GM for short. And this adventure is part three of a series inspired by the X-Men six-player arcade game made by Konami in 1992. Prologue to this one is a recap of what's come before. Previously on X-Men, the heroes fought Pyro and the Blob after Magneto went to a Sentinel factory in New York, where he reprogrammed the Sentinels there to attack their surroundings. But it turned out this was a distraction. And while the X-Men had their hands full with various enemies, Magneto abducted Professor Xavier and Kitty, who were now being held on Island M. So that brings us to the main plot of today's adventure. The X-Men fly to Island M and use the Blackbird's Vertol ability to land the jet in a clearing. The heroic mutants then head out on foot. It doesn't take long before the heroes are ambushed by more of these custom Sentinels that are purple and green, as well as some Sentinels that are magenta and silver. As before, the X-Men make short work of the robots, and it helps that the X-Men rested on their flight here, so each hero has full hit points as combat begins. The X-Men also get attacked by some reptilian humanoids. These opponents have orange scales and wear green costumes that provide their torso with a bit of skin armor. Storm tries to reason with these guys, but they seem more like beasts than men. They snap at the heroes as if they were alligators or something. So the X-Men knock these guys out, being careful not to kill any of them. The X-Men move deeper into the jungle, where they encounter what first seems to be giant pink flowers, but these too are some sort of monsters. And the encounter turns deadly when one of these plant monsters takes on a form reminiscent of Little Shop of Horrors. So Wolverine does his best weed whacker impression, and the plants are killed. Then the heroes carry on. Red and blue sentinels, as well as magenta and silver sentinels, fly into the area using jet boots. They attack the X-Men but are dismantled. The heroes are also attacked by more of these weird reptilians, but again, the heroes win out in the end. Cyclops, Dazzler, and Storm all took damage during this fight. Dazzler goes to take another one of these MRD pills that gives the character some hit points back, but Cyclops cautions Dazzler that they don't know how safe the pills are or how often you can take them, so she holds off. The heroes come to a weird rock formation, and resting here is what looks like the skull of a giant. While examining the skull, they find out some sort of wasp-like insects have made a hive in the skull's empty center. The flying insects swarm the heroes, stinging them. The queen emerges and is enormous. Colossus kills the queen, getting the attention of the others. All the other bugs swarm him, ignoring all the other X-Men. But none of the bugs can penetrate his body of metal. He tells his friends to keep going while he hangs back and swats all these things. So the other five X-Men keep going and encounter a bunch of Sentinels and Reptilians. They fight them and take even more damage, especially now that their heavy hitter isn't here to lend a hand. Soon enough, though, once Colossus has killed all the bugs, he rejoins his friends and helps out. It takes what feels like forever, but in the end, the good guys win, and broken bits of robots litter the jungle floor. Magneto flies to where the X-Men are, and everyone who has a ranged attack uses it. But Magneto has a crackling blue force field around him, and none of their attacks penetrate it. Magneto uses his magnetic control on a deposit of iron ore beneath their feet, pulling the rug out from under them. All of the X-Men but Storm fall into a hollow area below. Magneto laughs. Storm wants to stay here and fight Magneto, but she wants to save her friends even more. So she flies down as fast as she can, and she uses air control. She creates an updraft that doesn't stop everyone's fall, but does slow it down. Colossus is the heaviest, so he hits bottom the hardest. Luckily, he can take it. Wolverine, with his adamantium bones, is the second heaviest, and he heals what little damage he takes. Everyone else gets set down nice and easy. There's a waterfall here, and the constant mist has made the ground muddy. As soon as the X-Men disturb this, strange creatures pop up out of the mud. They are tan and covered in the stuff. Each one of these monsters has an almost catfish-like face with a flesh mustache shape. They have huge eyes like an alien gray, and they glow blue. They open their mouths and have fleshy pink tongues and tons of long, narrow, snake-like fangs. They make weird screeching sounds as they lunge at the heroes. Nightcrawler says, "What are these things? Leeches?" Wolverine answers him and says, "They're sushi." Wolverine cuts into the big belly of one of the monsters, spilling its guts like a tauntaun on Hoth. Once killed, these things shrivel up, and what's left of them sinks back into the mud. Manipulating the iron ore and causing this cave-in seems to have disturbed the island. So the X-Men experience what seems to be an earthquake. As soon as it ends, Wendigo shows up. This isn't the original Wendigo, as was the case with the others. This is an alien given his powers and appearance. Check out the last couple videos we uploaded for more information on that. Anyways, Wendigo charges the heroes. He claws Cyclops, who has mud on his visor and has a penalty to his dexterity right now. Cyclops shoots Wendigo, though, clearing off that mud. Storm hits Wendigo with lightning. Dazzler hits Wendigo with a laser. Everybody dogpiles the villain. And once again, the heroes win, but they're exhausted and they need a long rest. So they try to wash the mud off in the waterfall. And Storm says she could carry some of them back up to the surface, but not all of them. She's not strong enough to carry Colossus, for instance. So they stay here for a bit. Then we get to our epilogue. Professor Xavier reaches out to the X-Men again after they've rested some, and using telepathy, he guides them to a nearby cave. He urges them to keep going and reminds them that Kitty needs rescued. So the X-Men enter a nearby cave where they begin searching for Kitty. And that was it for this adventure. We had fun playing it. I hope that you had fun listening to it. As always, remember to smash that like button, hit subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, all that jazz. And we'll see you in the next video.